Come on.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Good. You are Ramendra.
Yes.
What is the meaning of Ramendra?
Sir, Ramendra is a sandhi of Rama plus Indra.
Okay.
So,
okay,
Rama
okay,
means.
okay, got it. So you passed out from IIT Kharagpur.
So,
Did your agriculture and food engineering.
so,
It's a fantastic branch. Why have you not tried your career in this? Because food processing is a sunrise industry nowadays.
definitely, sir.
So,
Sir, it is a very interesting branch and it is something which is very close to me also because I do organic farming as a hobby.
okay.
So, but when I was in college, I took part in a lot of extracurricular activities. I was the general secretary of the college. I was head of the fest. So, sir, I got a day one placement in a tech company, sir. That's why I took up the job. But finally, I wanted to do civil services. I was clear with that since the beginning, sir. So, I worked for a year in the private sector. Then I quit my job, sir.
What basically you think was motivating you to join civil service, except for your father being in police?
Sir, that's the foremost reason because while growing up, he's an IPS officer.
I know.
So, sir, while growing up, I've seen that apart from the law and order functions, he's been able to do a lot of developmental work for the people.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
How come?
So, through community policing, he's done water harvesting structure for the farmers when he was posted in Jalna. When he was Commissioner of Police Aurangabad, he had set up self-help groups of women. And so he was also posted in Chhattisgarh in a Naxal area. And there, sir, under his initiative, they adopted a Naxal village, brought solar lights to them, sent them for training, livelihood training, etc. So that's been my motivation, sir. Even I want to do some
So
development.
why have you not opted for IPS as your first choice?
So I believe the scope to do such developmental work is more in the IAS. There's more diversity of a job. So IAS would be my first preference, but I'd be willing to take up any service, sir.
Okay. So what do you think that you will be contributing as civil servant?
So I have a couple of things in mind. Firstly, I'd like to contribute something towards agriculture, sir. I believe we can promote farmers towards organic farming. We can help promote direct selling so they get a better price. Sir, we can also promote health education. We can promote public distribution system. We can promote nutrition in Anganwadis. Since I'm fond of organic farming, I'd like to set up nutritional gardens in Anganwadis. So then I also have expertise in technology. I have developed a couple of apps in my college, and I was product manager in my job. So I can bring that expertise also to e-governance in the administration, sir.
What is fertigation?
So fertigation is basically irrigation plus applying fertilizers through that water. So if we apply drip irrigation to the crops, we will add water soluble nutrients like NPK to fertigate the farms. That is called fertigation, sir.
Okay. When we talk about GM crops,
So
we say that recombinant DNA is basically. So what do you mean by recombinant DNA?
So recombinant DNA is a technology where a DNA from some other species is taken and it is added to another species. For example, in BT cotton, sir, the Bacillus thuringiensis, it was a bacterium. So gene from that was taken and put into BT cotton, sir. So that is called recombinant DNA technology.
No, but do we put the whole gene here?
We do, sir. Actually, the size of the DNA increases. Actually, they're sliced in the middle and the extra gene is added. So it is easily able to differentiate between a recombinant one and a normal one. Now we have, sir, a CRISPR technology where it is not identifiable that we have made any modification.
And what do we use as a cutting tool in CRISPR technology?
Sir, I think there's one molecule called Cas9, sir, I believe.
So what is that? Cas9 is?
Sir, I don't have much technical knowledge of
No,
that.
not technology, general knowledge.
So basically, sir, it was found that in many of the bacterium, there are many repeating DNA sequences which are found. So they're basically there since evolution and they have stored all that DNA. So CRISPR-Cas9 technology actually
this uses enzyme.
Enzyme, sir.
This uses enzyme to cut the side, you know.
Absolutely.
That cuts a part of DNA spiral,
so
and then it takes it out.
Yes.
Tell me, these base pairs, they define the characteristics?
Yes, sir.
There is one satellite area also known as, this is very important area in the DNA structure, satellite.
So
what is that?
Sir, I'm not aware of any satellite area, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
When we do, this gene modification in plants, this is the area which is picked up. Not the whole DNA. That's why I was asking you that whether whole DNA is transferred.
Sir, I'm not aware, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, yes, sir. Right.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You said about that you would like to encourage direct selling by farmers
So,
so that they get better price. How can how is this achievable?
sir, firstly, I like to go a little bit about the motive behind it. Sir, the farmers are able to receive only 15 to 40% of the price that is paid by the consumers.
All known. I just want to know how did you devise a scheme or structure so that all farmers are able to sell their produce directly to consumer without a middleman.
So, firstly, we need to promote FPOs, farmer producer organizations, and then those FPOs can directly sell to the consumer, sir. They can even export it. For example, near Pune, there is one Dhaneshwar Mauli FPO, which is doing very well, sir. They're even able to export. They're doing organic farming. Sir, apart from that, also we can promote contract farming. And sir, right now there is a concept of family farmer that is coming up because the uh, the outside vegetables chemical residues are carcinogenic, sir. So customers in the housing society are directly connecting with the farmers, sir. They're called as family farmers, and through WhatsApp groups also they're directly selling to the housing societies. So these are some of the ways.
Well, that is possible only when consumer is located close to the farmer, distance wise. Well, anyway. And now let me ask you, what are direct and indirect taxes at the central level?
So direct taxes are income tax and corporate tax. They are levied directly on the consumer. So indirect taxes are levied on goods and services, which are actually the consumer is consuming them, but the tax is being charged on the company. So that's why they're called indirect taxes.
This depends upon who is making the payment to the government.
So
As you were rightly telling about the direct taxes. So what is the index? Now tell what do you mean by indirect?
sir, an indirect tax, if I purchase a pack of biscuit, so I'm actually the company will pay the tax.
The company will not pay the tax.
I'm sorry.
It will be paid by the consumer.
So that tax will be paid by the consumer, but I think GST is applied on the company. That's what my understanding is. I'm sorry
I pay
again.
the
sir.
GST, right?
Sir?
I pay the GST.
आप रेस्टोरेंट जाते हो
Yes, sir.
तो जो बिल मिलता है
Definitely, sir. Yes,
उसमें
sir.
लिखा रहता है जीएसटी इतना परसेंट
Yes, sir.
18%
Yes, sir.
5% जो भी लिखा होता
Yes, sir.
है यू आर पेइंग जीएसटी
Consumer is paying the GST. Sorry, sir.
so it is a direct or indirect.
Sir, it is indirect tax, sir.
Still it is indirect.
I think yes, sir, because if it is income tax, if the consumer is getting income and that is tax, that is called direct tax. And sir, in this case, I think income is being gotten by the biscuit company or maybe the hotel industry. So that's why it may be called indirect tax. I need to read up more about it, sir.
Okay, what are the taxes that form the revenue of a state government? Leave the GST aside because GST is now more or less in the hands of the center.
So currently there's tax on alcohol and
Which is called tax on alcohol, which is called what?
excise duty, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, sir. Sir, I can't recall at the moment, sir.
That's all. Okay, and which taxes the urban local bodies collect to earn revenue for themselves?
So urban local bodies mostly they earn property tax, sir, and they can also tax fares, etc. They can tax sanitation services, etc.
Tax what?
Sanitation services, sir. Yes, sir. Conservancy, I think it's called, sir. Conservancy services or sanitation services.
Well, there are many other things. Anyway,
Sir.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now, your father is in police and you mentioned some very good work he has done.
Sir.
But despite that, there is tremendous distrust between public and police today. Any ordinary person, either avoids going to police or he even abhors going to police station. Or if he has to go, then he is very scared of going. So why it is so?
So there is a lack of public trust is going down in the institutions. So firstly, I think this citizen is afraid that the person will not file an FIR So secondly, there may be lack of sensitivity training on that part. Maybe if some women or some minorities may go, they may fear being judged or harassed. So thirdly, there may also be scared of custodial violence, sir. These are some issues.
So what is your father doing to improve that situation? Has he done something on that?
So basically, he's been promoting openness. He's always available to the public to be approachable. And sir, even in the police stations, he's been providing training, sensitivity training to the officers. There are lady constables posted there. There are CCTV cameras. So sir, these are some of the steps.
Okay. Now coming to your, subject of literature of Sanskrit language, who are the authors whom you studied?
Sir, I've studied Kalidas, Magh, Sriharsh, Dandin, Ban, etc. Sir.
Okay, so what is the most impressive writing you found?
So mostly I like writings by Vyas, sir. I read the Bhagavad-Gita. I also read the Ramayana, sir. So I think Bhagavad-Gita is, I find it very interesting, sir.
So that was part of your Sanskrit literature, it was part of your mythology reading?
Sir, that was a part of Sanskrit literature also, a couple of shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. But sir, since childhood I've been reading mythology. I've grown up listening to stories, reading Amar Chitra.
I'll come back to mythology later on, but tell me what is the oldest poetic writing in Sanskrit?
Sir, oldest poetry writing would be Valmiki's Ramayana, sir.
Okay.
It's called Adika.
So what is the oldest written text in Sanskrit?
Sir, oldest oral text would be the Vedas, sir, but I'm not sure which exactly is the oldest written text.
Rig Veda.
Rig Veda, sir.
Now coming to mythology, you said that Ramayana, Mahabharata, do they fall into the category of mythology?
So mythology is, I think they do fall into the category of mythology.
What do you mean by mythology?
So mythology comes from the word mithya. So it means my truth. It may not be your truth. It may not be somebody else's truth, but it is something I believe in. And sir, our sages have been through
What is
mythology.
the meaning of mithya in Sanskrit?
So mithya means a story, sir, in Sanskrit, or false, something which is not true, or
No, which appears but which is not true. Which appears to be true but it is not true. That is mithya. So if you put Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. in the category of mythology, don't you think they are historical books and this is only based on mythology or it's history?
sir, there is a lot of historical aspect also, because we see the Mahajanpadas, Kuru, Panchal, etc. in there. But sir, there are a lot of supernatural events also. For example, flight, or for example, Hanuman lifting a mountain. So because of these supernatural elements, I would not like to call them as history, but they're basically books of philosophy, sir, to teach us about karma, about dharma, etc.
So what are the books you read under mythology?
So Ramayana, stories from Ramayana. I even read the Bhagavad-Gita, the text in Sanskrit.
What was the most impressive verse in Bhagavad Gita which you found?
So I especially like the ones about Gyan Yoga, that is how to become Sthit Pragya or equanimity. Sir, so if I may recite,
That is in which chapter and which verses?
so chapter 2, I believe. So if I may recite one shloka.
Yes, certainly.
So it says, Matra Sparshastu Konteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkada Agamapayino Nityastam Titikshasva Bharata.
Very good. Your Sanskrit pronunciation is fantastic. So now I'll recite a Sanskrit verse and you will tell me the meaning in English. Vidya vivadaya dhanam madaya shakti paresham parpedinaya khalasya sadho viprit metat jnanaya danaya charakshana.
So can you please repeat it and slowly this time?
Vidya vivadaya dhanam madaya shakti paresham parpedinaya khalasya sadho viprit metat jnanaya danaya charakshana.
So basically it is talking about Khal and Sadhu, two types of people. One are the bad people and Sadhu are the good people. Sir, so some qualities of Sadhu and some qualities of Khal are being described.
Khalasya sadho viprit metat. Khal or sadhu viprit hai. So, okay. Now, going to some other subject. You are interested in technology. Now, how come India is not so innovative in technology? despite a glorious past, we are not doing so good right now. Our technology innovations, we are come to BTech, it's not so good. Why?
So I'd like to talk a little bit about the R&D ecosystem and the startup ecosystem, sir. So the government spending is also a bit low. It's only 0.7% of the GDP. And also, sir, the private sector is doing much of the heavy lifting here. So most of the research, instead of being, sorry, sir, the government sector is doing much of the heavy lifting. Most of the research are in the government sector. So there is lack of industry academia linkages, I would say. So if industry would actually give the problem statements to the research institutes, I think they'd be able to come up with better research. So quality of research is there. Even our higher education institutes should promote research by following some tenure track system. The government can give research specific grants to those institutes.
Maybe the institution should be linked to some, industries and agricultural farms. Okay, thank you.
Only one question on mythology. After that, I will switch over to other things. Now, what is the difference between mythology and history?
So mythology, like I said, it's my version of the truth. It's something.
So it is Mithya Sanskrit word or myths English word?
So actually, there are a lot of similarities between Sanskrit, Greek, and
No, but mythology word. You explain the word mythology, so it will be myths or it will be Mithya.
Sir, it will be mythos, that is a Greek word, and it is similar to mithya, which is a Sanskrit word. Actually, there are so many similarities because there was a common language, ancestral language. So history is something which has been scientifically proven to have a date. There's carbon dating, etc. But mythology is something which is my version of the truth. It's basically to teach me a couple of things by the sages. Yes, sir.
So, is there any attempt to portray mythology as history?
So there are a couple of attempts. For instance, the celestial bodies, the formation of celestial bodies have been dated to specific periods in the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Even so, there are geographical evidences, for example, the flow of certain rivers, which were there in the ancient times, but they have changed course today. So these are some of the ways we can actually date them.
Okay, we leave it. Now, you have a hobby of organic farming. What do you grow there?
Sir, I grow my own vegetables, sir, and sir, tomatoes, brinjal, lauki, bindi, cauliflower, and sir, I even grow leafy vegetables, sir, lal mat, palak, methi.
And then how they are organic?
So they are organic because we're not giving any chemical pesticides. We're not applying any chemical fertilizers, sir. Jivamrit is applied instead, sir. And if there are no pests usually because there's so much of diversity of crops, and we also grow marigold as trap crops, etc. So usually there are no pests. But if there is a pest, we can apply neem oil instead of harmful carcinogenic chemicals.
And what is the production?
Is this for home use, sir?
No, it's okay. But suppose actually you grow organic vegetables and non-organic vegetables. Then what is the difference in the production?
So there is a common perception that for the first 1 or 2 years, the yield may go down because sir, the soil quality has been so poor. But sir, in my experience, I've seen that there's a farmer called Mr. Fukuoka. He practices natural farming in Japan. And sir, he's been able to achieve the highest yield in rice in Japan. And Japan's yield is already higher than India's. So I think...
So you feel, I mean, the production wise, there is no difference.
If done well, sir, but on the ground it is seen that 10%.
We have so many actually research institute in agriculture, so many agricultural scientists, well known, world renowned. So why we have not switched over to organic farming if there is no difference in the production?
So mostly it's because of the historic policies. We went for food security and green evolution.
Farmers will go by the historic policies. They will go by the production.
Sir, right now I think people are becoming more aware about the harmful effects of chemical farming, sir. There is a cancer train right now which is running in Punjab because of so many chemical inputs.
We come back to organic farming only. So where actually it has been successful? In which state? The organic farming
Is a state where it is very successful. It is a 100% organic state, sir.
Yeah. And what are the reasons why it is successful there and not in other states?
Sir, In Sikkim, it has been the government's initiative, sir. So through a period of time, they have been promoting model farms. They have been giving training. They have been giving inputs, and they phased out chemicals over a period of time. So it's the government's initiative, sir.
So you feel actually the organic farming is future.
I do, sir.
Thanks.
What persuaded you to opt for literature of Sanskrit language as your optional paper?
So I've been growing up listening to sunset shlokas, reading about mythology, and I even had that language in school. So I'm comfortable with the language. So secondly, I chose a literature optional because it would give me a welcome break after studying general studies.
You studied it at the school level also?
I did, sir.
You did? It was a part of your curriculum?
Yes, sir, it was a part
Up
of
to
my
class 10 only.
Sir, I've studied in different schools, sir. So in one of the schools I did have.
Up to class 10 only, no?
Yes, up to class and all. Yes.
Okay, very interesting. Now, with Sanskrit as your subject of your interest and Marathi as your what? Mother tongue?
So my mother tongue is Hindi, but since I've grown up in Maharashtra,
In Maharashtra, yeah. So, what these two languages have together in relation to Sikhism?
so Marathi and Sanskrit. Sir, I have read that Guru Nanak, he actually took a verses from a lot of different sects, sir. Maybe Kabir or
Very good. I'll not take you further on that. Very good. Maharashtra has the privilege of maintaining number of the tourist places. Ajanta Ellora being one of the most famous ones. I just want to know what all is there in these caves. Have you visited?
so I have visited both of those caves. So, sir, in Ajanta caves, it's famous for its fresco paintings, sir. Sir, and if we see the individual paintings, they're so beautiful that all the women have different headgear, they have different clothes, different fashion, even high heels at that time, sir. So the guide very rightly, interestingly points out all those aspects. There is one painting where if you view it from the left or from the right, I mean, it appears that if the painting is looking at you, sir. Sir, and Ellora, it's famous for its caves and it's famous for the Kailash temple, sir.
No, both caves have paintings or some sculptures.
Sir, Ajanta caves is famous for the paintings, sir. Ellora caves doesn't have that much paintings, but it is famous for Kailash temple, sir. And the whole temple has been carved out from a.
There are no sculptors or sculptures there.
There are sir,
Statues
yes, sir, there are.
there are.
Sir, in Ajanta or Ellora,
Yeah.
sir, in both there are statues, sculptures also is there.
Why are you then referring to paintings only?
Sir, Ajanta is famous for the painting, sir, and Ellora is famous for the Kailasha temple, sir, because the whole temple is carved out from a single rock, sir, and there the sculptures are also famous. Like there is one of Ravan lifting Mount Kailash, that is a very famous sculpture. There's so many other sculptures also.
Is it a World Heritage?
Yes, sir, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Yes,
World Heritage?
UNESCO World Heritage Site, sir.
You are sure?
I'm sure, sir.
What are the implications of a site being World Heritage? I'm being notified as World Heritage.
Sir, it gets more publicity, lot of footfall, and it gets better protection, sir, from the government, from the ASI. It even gets technical support from the UNESCO.
What kind of technical support?
Sir, I'm not aware exactly, sir, but
Does it get any financial aid also?
sir, as far as I'm aware, I don't think it gets any financial aid.
And what kind of obligations come on to the state?
So they have to maintain the premises, maintain cleanliness, maintain facilities for the tourists, preserve the sites.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Please wait outside, we shall call you back.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
That will be it. Okay, so now the interview was fantastic. We are happy with this.
Thank you so much.
The way you express yourself, the confidence you oozed out, and the logic which you applied in most of the answers, what it is something which is required in the interview, and you have that. Okay, you have pleasant exposition, and you basically don't get scared of questions. Now, when you are talking about farming, especially when you are talking about organic farming,
So,
immediately there will be a question in reference to Sri Lanka.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You should remember it.
Yes.
Because there it has been a great failure
Yes, sir.
and it has resulted into disaster there.
True, sir.
So while talking about organic farming, you should be able to justify that even after this happening in Sri Lanka, why are you propagating it?
Yes.
Number one. Number two,
Sorry for the interruption. Please. Sikkim ke baad, Sikkim was the state when it was declared organic, it's a long time back. No other state has been added. And so this concern, what the chairman is underlining, is that it has not become popular. It has not become, for a major reason being the yield, the production. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
okay. Now, another thing which you will have to take care of, that Government of India has launched a scheme for Northeast.
Yes, sir. Yes.
What is the scheme? From farm to market, what is known as?
Operation Green, sir.
Operation Green? No.
For promoting oilseeds, NMEOOP.
Yeah. Then what is that?
NMEOOP.
OP, yes.
Yes, sir.
So this you should be very thorough about.
Yes, sir.
Another scheme which they have launched for Northeast regarding organic farming is that they are now assisting these farmers in clusters,
Yes, sir.
right? So all type of facilities for organic farming, then processing of that produce, then giving its marketing edge.
Sir.
So everything is being done. So that should be prepared by you
Sir.
because you are interested in it. So somehow this will come up in the examination,
Yes.
interview.
Yes.
Secondly, your father has been and is in police. So you have seen the contrasting roles of collector and SP.
Sir.
Because when your father was a commissioner, then there might be some collector also.
Sir.
You will have to explain to the board most probably that what do you think is a coordinative structure between these two posts?
Sir.
How are they complementary to each other? Even when there is a commissionerate system,
Sir.
even when, and most of the laws come under commissioner, police commissioner.
Sir.
How the coordination is so important,
Yes.
right? Then in a district when there is a commissioner, if you are posted as collector, how will you feel about it?
Yes. Yes.
When you don't have that, teeth,
Yes, sir.
these minor acts are not there with you.
Yes, sir.
So what will be your priority?
Yes.
Then being a boy from a family where your father is an IPS officer, you should be very sure that as a officer who will be trying to enter and who is trying to enter into IAS, what will be your job profile? Like your core activities as collector. What do you think will be your core activities?
So, revenue and mostly like bringing public delivery services to the people. And that's also
And revenue.
revenue.
That's okay. That's okay. So you should be very sure about the structure of rural administration up to the district.
Sir.
The next issue which should be very, very clear to you is about police reforms.
Yes, sir.
And not only this, the Chief Justice once spoke about that, the CBI's parrot,
Cage parrot, sir.
cage parrot. What do you understand by it, and what has been your observation?
So,
Then why even after 75 years of independence, there have been no substantial improvement in the relationship of police and people? Right, that's very, very important thing which can be asked from you. Apart from that, you should be able to tell before the interview board that what would you do when you reach a district as a district collector.
so,
Tell me, what would you do?
so my priorities.
Yes.
So agriculture, health, education.
For agriculture, there is a deputy director agriculture, joint director agriculture. You know all these things.
True, sir. True. Yes,
So
sir.
health, CMHO is there, and all
Sir,
these
in
officers.
agriculture, I believe water harvesting is a rainwater harvest. Water harvesting, basically, sir, I've been to Ralegan, Siddhi and Hivre Bazaar. So especially in drought-prone areas of Maharashtra, I think water harvesting is a big thing that collector can take up.
Ralegaon, they have developed the technique of 5 waters.
So,
What are those 5 waters? Or 4 waters?
sir, I'm not aware of 5 or 4 waters. It's about watershed.
So this will be not under your jurisdiction.
So,
This will be done by agriculture department. Then what will you do?
so basically promoting the PHCs, promoting
Yeah,
the
the
schools.
CMHO is there, Chief Medical Health Officer. It is his duty, he will do it.
Sir, yes, sir, but there are a lot of things collector can bring. I think I'd like to bring technology, sir. Especially,
Technology in what?
sir, in a lot of ways. For example, in grievance redressal.
Yes,
it's-
this is the important point. Remember it.
So,
The major job of the district collector, apart from the core activities,
So-
is redressal of the grievances. Most important, remember it.
yes, sir. Yes,
Because collector is supposed to be eyes and ears of the government.
so,
So he is the person who listens to the people, resolves their problems, and in case he observes something special, he has to communicate it to the government.
so,
So this is what is being observed by me.
so,
This is the problem in this particular department or this particular scheme or something, that we should take precautionary actions. So grievance redressal should be stressed by you in the interview board.
yes, sir.
Okay, that my primary intention will be that I want to be the person who is close to the people.
So,
I will tour a lot. I will visit the villages. I will sit with them.
so,
I will listen to their problem. I will even have night halts with them. I will have dinner with them,
so,
so that they open themselves to me. Right?
yes,
So they develop trust relationship. That's what has to be answered by you in the interview.
right.
So anything else you want to ask?
So I think I was off to a shaky start regarding the tax issue. I couldn't answer such questions.
That's okay.
Very simple question, you can read it.
That you can read it. The questions के बारे में you should not bother much.
So,
In the interview, it's not your knowledge exactly being checked.
so,
Right. It will be your aptitude which is checked.
so,
Because आपने दे लिया ना एग्जाम तो GS 1, 2, 3, 4 वो दे दिया, वो क्या कहते हैं उसका essay का पेपर दे दिया, फिर ऑप्शनल दे दिया, तो सब चेक हो चुका है. जो कुछ चेक करना है they have already checked about it. Right? So they are not interested in knowing these things. Right. What is happening around you is important.
so,
What are you observing in this world? Whether it's international relation, with the economy of the state, economy of the country,
so,
social systems changing, then communal harmony existing or not, whether it's getting disturbed and how it is being controlled, how should it be controlled. So the communal harmony and changing social systems, it should be a priority area. That will certainly be asked. So what you should do is, when is your interview?
say day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow. So now it's very easy now for you. You don't have to do anything. Take rest.
So,
Enjoy yourself.
so,
Talk with your father a lot,
so,
but don't attend now any mock interview.
all right.
Remember my words. You are such a bright student.
So,
You have such bright possibilities. Don't destroy them by going to some mock interview with, they जो छोटी मोटी ऊंची चीजें ऊपर की चीजें बताते रहते हैं. Those things will not benefit you in the interview.
Sir.
You should have the real metal,
Sir.
which you have.
Sir.
That should be expressed. So don't try to get it clouded by anything else. Stay at your home,
Yes.
be cool, be happy. Everything is fine with you.
Good.
Right?
Thank you, sir.
Anything you want to ask?
So I think that's all.
Thank you
Thanks so
very much.
much.
All the very best.
Thank you.
Dr. Kumar.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.